nights. Like,
acknowledge me.
Leveled by Marvin Constant, the redshirt freshman out of Tuscaloosa.
Oh, they go by now. Let him know he don't want to stop. 65 yards as the ball was thrown away from the line of scrimmage. Gerald Dixon.
Hey, you forgot to see my book. And proper.
gotcha.
That was Mike. Let's try that one more again. I guess that was logged in. Sorry, guys. We now we're sophisticated here at the Bama Standard, where intros you can just lock in, and apparently some dumbass didn't change the intros from the earlier show. I don't know who that was. Maybe the guy talking.
There we go. Thank you. Thank you, Patty. Thank you. Sorry, guys.
Technical error.
Ever since Ohio State won a natty, it's just been, everything's just not the same. So, but yeah, the final whistle is here. Hit that like, subscribe button, everybody. We are here with the Avengers. I got my main crew. We got such an exciting show. We're going to be talking about some topics that, a little bit different from other shows, and we cannot wait to get in it. So let's introduce the cast below me. The man, the myth, the legend, 32, Chris James. How are you?
I'm good, man. Good to be back, man. After a week off, I'm back, ready to roll.
We're glad to have you back. And the guy who's studying cases and doing all the legal terms and covering college football at the same time, the one and only Ty Hayes. Ty, how are you, sir?
I just kicked a box of ammo, so I'm okay. Yeah. I'm telling you what, I'm watching that ruling I sent y'all. What was that? Saturday?
Title IX?
There's a lot going on that I don't think people are talking about right now. Like the thing I don't think's being talked about. So gonna be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, we'll let you get into it off the rip before we get into the show. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Lane Petty himself, Kiffin Petty. How are you today, sir?
And just sliding in DMs everywhere I can. glad to be back with my fellas on this Tuesday.
You haven't been in my DMs.
Sliding on ice and DMs.
Ice and DMs.
It's down here in Florida where it's snowing.
Yeah, it's snowing here. I'm snowed in.
Snowed in.
I've been in Georgia, snowed in.
What a world.
What a world. Listen, this guy needs no introduction. My main man, my good brother, my good friend, Lucian. How are you, Lucian?
Last night it's pretty difficult to deal with. I didn't even watch it, and I had to deal with the after effects. It's really depressing to be up here. They just can't really spell, so they gotta shout stuff. It's annoying. Yeah. But I'm here on the final whistle with the Crimson Avengers, ready to get down. We got some stuff to talk about, so let's get into it.
Let's get into it. But first we get into our first topic. Let's talk about playing hard, working hard, and getting hard. There's no other place to do that other and have your landscape looking hard other than Lambstone Inc. Ty, how did I do on that segue? Was it okay? It was.
Listen, after the football season, I'm so soft that not even Lambstone can help me out.
I appreciate, man. I almost feel like that was like Super Troopers, the meow. How many times we could get hard worked in there?
Hard.
Speaking of hard, Real Rock Stone, nothing goes harder than Real Rock Stone. Have you ever dreamed of having beautiful natural stone in or around your home? Well, don't settle for subpar materials. Check out Lambstone Company's selection of natural stone products to meet all your project needs. Lambstone is located in beautiful Anion, Alabama, and is one of the oldest, most trusted sources in the state. So contact them today and tell them we sent you using the promo code the Bama Standard to receive 10% off your purchase. And don't go no harder than that Lambstone on your house. I can't do it as good as Ty and you guys.
Listen, you go harder than Lambstone, you might need to call your doctor.
After 4 hours.
Go to the ER. Awesome, guys. Well, listen, guys, this is kind of ease our way into this thing. I want to start with Ty. I know Ty, the NCAA kind of mentioned some interesting legal news regarding Title IX, I believe, NIL, some documents. I know you mentioned us. Could you kind of go over that for a second, just to kind of get everybody up to breast regarding this?
Yeah. And this is in regard specifically to revenue sharing. Those of you that have watched me both on Around the Table Sports and here, you know that I've been a proponent of revenue sharing. Now, I have always been forthright in admitting I'm not saying it's going to solve everything, because with every new opportunity that arrives in college football, it almost seems like it's one step forward, two steps back. And I think that's exactly what just happened with the new documentation that came out, I believe, Thursday. I was sitting at the cigar lounge talking to an attorney about this. Saturday, he and I were sitting there actually discussing what this means. It was actually Thursday when it came out, and we discussed it further Saturday. And basically what the revenue sharing is still in Title IX, they won't be distributing it based on the value of each sport. They will be distributing it based on pure equitability. And that creates some hurdles. That's not to say I don't feel like other sports don't deserve to be paid. That's not where I'm going with this. But let's also be honest here, guys. It's somewhere like Ohio State. If we're saying, let's keep the numbers very easy here because I'm real bad at math. Let's say their athletic department as a whole makes $100 million. What portion of that pie is coming from football? Is it 75?
There's only two sports out of all of them on most campuses, Ty. You talk about being real that are in the black. Money. Yeah.
So, listen, I'm all for taking that money and spreading it. But whenever we're looking at something and they're saying, hey, it has to be equitable, we've heard about the numbers for revenue sharing. We've heard that it could be $20 million. And now all of a sudden it's like, okay, well, if we get $20 million to spend, do we now have to divide that $20 million between all sports? It gets tricky. If you're asking me where I think we're at now, Congress needs to do for college football what Congress did for Major League Baseball some time ago, and that's give them an exemption, right? If we look back at what congressional acts have done for Major League Baseball, and even through the court system, they deemed Major League Baseball exempt from the Sherman Act, the antitrust structure that the NCAA is currently trying to figure out a way to not end up in court about, by stating that because Major League Baseball was the official pastime of Americans everywhere, they were exempt. They didn't have to answer to the same antitrust regulations that did everybody else. I don't think Major League Baseball is America's pastime anymore. I think if we look at the numbers of viewership, there's a good answer. It's college football. And when we start getting into the complexities of this, if you want my answer for the easiest way to fix this, and I know this is going to sound laughable because I'm sitting here saying Congress, easy, same sentence, but what else is there? Like, are we really going to go through this Title IX battle? That'll last another 5 years at least. At least. And remember, 2025, there are some key lawsuits coming down. We've talked about House. We've talked about Alston. But then there's Johnson coming down that's talking about athlete back pay. Everybody was mad at Reggie Bush. Guess what? That lawsuit was already on the books on a much larger scale before Reggie Bush entered his name into the hat. lot of interesting things happening, guys, and it's something we're going to have to keep our eye on because it will shape the future of college sports as we know it.
Wow, that will be interesting.
Well,
so, guys,
hold on. Before we move on, though, I want to get ties to and it's not that exact storyline, but something else that could have huge effects or ramifications on what we see in college football is the Wisconsin kid transferring to Miami without using the portal. Like he had already signed, I think, with the agreement with the revenue share maybe at Wisconsin and decided they weren't going to agree to let him go in the portal. And he's like, well, screw it. I'm just going to go enroll in Miami. He literally rendered the portal null and void, or did he not, Ty?
Yeah, and the interesting thing is it, you know, the NCAA provided a statement to this, and they said NCAA rules do not prevent a student athlete from unenrolling from an institution and enrolling in a new institution and competing immediately. And at that point, what is a transfer portal? Like
Pandora's box. We've just ripped it to fucking shreds.
What is at that point? What is a transfer portal? So this makes it very difficult. Shout out Ebony, a split fan in the chat. Love to see you here, Ebony. For those of you that don't know, that's Noah Carter's mom, and an Ohio State fan. So
congrats on the title.
Congrats on the win. Congrats on the win, Ebony. Happy to see you here. Missed you. Hope you're doing well. Hope the weather's treating you well. And I hope all is well.
Awesome. Thank you, Todd, Patty. Anybody want to add to this, Chris, Lushan, to the wild west of what college football is?
Todd knocked it out the park.
Yeah. Appreciate it, Todd.
Hey, the one thing that I did find interesting was how now the transfer portal may be null and void. I mean, like it's ways around everything now.
Yeah, it is null and void. They just that just broke it.
That was like you guys have to understand. As a college football fan, I saw that and I was like, "Oh, this is cooked." But as a legal argumentation fan, I was like, "Damn it, that's brilliant."
That's somebody saw that and said, "There's a loophole in this thing the size of the Gulf."
Yeah, dang it, that's brilliant. And I know who argued it too. I know who argued that, and if I could ever ask them some questions, I certainly will.
All right, cool. Well, guys, listen, thanks, Ty, for giving us the legal juices flowing and just discussing the state of college football, how everything is just going.
And for the $4.99, you're the real MVP.
Oh, thank you for that. Thank you for that.
You, Ann, we love you.
Thank you, Ann. So, guys, let's talk about it. Just past 3 minutes, Petty, Chris. I think Alabama basketball just pulled out a big-time victory versus those engineers and doctors and all those guys up in Nashville. Chris, you were mentioning earlier about one guy who's just playing lights out in this game. Could you give us a quick recap where Alabama's going and highlight this player? I know you and Petty are big on the courts. I don't get hype about basketball to March Madness, but I'm going to let you guys have it.
Well, started off, Mo Diabate, man. He's a stud. He had 22 tonight. Alabama won. I think it's 103-87.
Yes.
They scored another 100-point game. This is their what win? 13th win or 11th? This some double-digit win, 12th win or something over quad one team so far, which leads the nation. They have the most 6 ranked wins over top 25, which is one off a school record. Which leads the nation on one off the school record, and plus they have many more ranked teams coming, to play, so they'll definitely shatter that record. But Mohamed Diabate, man, I think he's the glue guy for Alabama basketball. He was big in Kentucky. You think about way back to the NCAA tournament last year. He came up that Grand Canyon game, one of those games that was very physical, that refs let him play. And once he came in, he kind of took over that game. Man, that guy, he reminds me of a more offensively gifted Dennis Rodman. They're about the same height, around 6'7". both around the same height. A lot of people think Dennis Rodman was way taller than what he was because of how well he rebounded. But he actually was a 6'7" guy. That played big. That's kind of like Mo Diabate. He's a little more, maybe a little more massive, like masculine, because Dennis Rodman was kind of slender at the beginning of his career until he put some weight on towards the end, latter of his career. But the guy, man, he's a Swiss Army knife. Reminds me of he's our version of this team's version of Herb Jones. But he rebounds so well, man. He's an offensive rebounding machine. He can finish. He can run the floor. He can finish in transition. He can D up. He can play defend multiple positions, and he can knock down an open three whenever. But he doesn't shoot many. But when he gets a chance, he can knock it down, and he pretty much makes his free throws. So he's a stud, man. I think he's going to be the catalyst for us going back to the Final Four, because you have your nights. You know what you're going to get from Sears. Sears is going to give you around 20.
Oh, he still had 21 tonight.
Yes, and a quiet 21. Very quiet.
Yeah, because you had two guys coming off the bench, and Diabate scoring 22, and then Aiden Holloway had 22 off the bench.
Could you say the biggest steal in the portal?
Yep.
This year?
Absolutely.
Maybe Aiden Holloway. I mean, the most underrated, under the radar.
I'll stand on the fact that Aiden Holloway needed a coach like Nate Oates for him to work. He's one of those guys that's a volume shooter, and volume shooters, if they're off, I think he might have gotten benched when he was at Auburn under Pearl, where Oates will bench you if you're not shooting. Like, I don't care if you're in a slump or not, you shoot out of it. And it's given Holloway this confidence. And man, you got a guy coming off the bench at guard putting 22 and 30, 28 minutes. It's just, yeah, man, Bama can come at you in waves with the guard scoring. And then you got a guy that's working down low, like Diabate said. You said he was a double guy tonight off the bench, 22, 10 rebounds, 8 on the defensive side. He's just hell on wheels down low. I love your comparison to Rodman, but again, like you said, but he's a much better scorer. He can actually get to the rim and get some points. So love that kid.
And then rounded into form is Chris Youngblood.
Oh yeah,
the AA Player of the Year last year, American Conference AAC Player.
He had 8 tonight. He's bringing in 8 to 10 off the bench. Again, it's just there's depth. Like this team's built to win 6 in March.
Yes, and I believe that we have multiple legit NBA players on this roster.
3, at least 3 right now.
Minimum
3 that I can name without blinking. With Diabate, Fallon is that he's probably going to go 15. Reed, Sears. I mean,
Reed might be the highest drafted guy. He has the most. He's been hurt. He hasn't been playing. So when he comes back, that's going to be even scarier. Yeah. And then you have Grant Nelson, who's a 6'11" mismatch. That's gonna get some looks in the league. He's a mismatch man, 6'11", that could stretch 4. And then you got a guy like Sears, who a lot of people compares to a little bit shorter Jalen Brunson, who's game.
That's 5 guys right there off this team. That's NBA. That's you win with that.
That's 5, and not including the younger guys like who will be future NBA guys like Aiden Sherrill, who's a future. He's a future NBA guy, and Jaron Stevenson, 2 future NBA guys. So man, that's scary, man. Multiple NBA guys on this roster, man. And I'm not saying guys that I'm talking about like lottery picks, top 10, but I'm talking about guys that you'll look up and you'll see. You might have the TV on, you'll see playing kind of like a Noah Clowney right now. Now you look up and like, dog, I didn't know he had 19 tonight. He had 18 tonight. Multiple guys like that.
Look, I know we're a football school, but man, if you're not paying attention to what Oates is doing in basketball, and look, you gotta do something in between football season. Might as well enjoy this damn basketball team because they're averaging 92 points a game. They're the highest scoring offense in college. They run an NBA type offense. It's so fun. It's not just that it's your team. They're fun to watch. It's the funnest product in college basketball right now.
And I'm willing to say. I think I go on a limb and say SEC team will win the national championship this year in basketball. But I would say a 75% chance it comes from the state of Alabama.
I won't argue with either of those two comments, Chris.
And another team to watch on in the SEC on the national level is Florida, man. Those Gators, man.
Florida's nasty.
They have what it takes, because last year, you remember, they were hot now last year until that center, they big tore his knee up, or I think his ankle, his knee or something early in the first minute of the SEC championship game. SEC championship game last year against was it Tennessee? Was it Florida Tennessee last year?
Mm-hmm.
In the SEC championship game, because Florida knocked us out.
Yep,
I think it was Florida that knocked us out, and that big that tore his, and Florida was rounding into form then, and they were a team that I thought was going to make a deep tournament run. But
I mean, you're looking at 12 teams getting in, and I mean multiple. I mean above 5 seeds. It's a nasty league, man.
And I Matt, I go on. I know we have to move on, but I go on a limb and say this: there's over 50% chance that the national championship this year will come out of the state of Alabama, and I would say that multiple SEC teams will be in the Final Four.
No, I agree. I think you could see 2 teams from the state of Alabama in the Final Four, and I won't be shocked this year.
Wouldn't be shocked, not one bit.
And I also won't be shocked to see a team like Mississippi State or Ole Miss sneak their asses.
Ole Miss is good, man. They're sneaky good. They muddy it up.
Yeah, they got a coach that knows how to win in March, but that's the whole SEC's that way, man. We're not even talking about Kentucky and Tennessee, who both are nasty as hell. So this league can ball, man. Awesome. Well, the worst team in the league, South Carolina, and they've got a damn lottery pick on their team. That's what you're dealing with. And any night, a lottery pick can go off and beat your ass. That's like I said. I know we need to move on to football. I know Chris went pretty deep in it, but if you're not paying attention, SEC basketball is about as good of a product as there is right now.
Well, listen, let's great recap, you guys. I mean, that's why I let the floor handle to you all. So, guys, let's shift from balls on the court to balls on the field. You like what I did there? And let's talk about, it's been a lot of quarterback conversation. We just saw today Keelan Russell is the number 1 overall player. Rivals got his 5th star. Dijon Lee gave it to him as well. Dijon Lee got his 5th star. But guys, a lot of people are talking Keelan Russell and Ty Simpson. Is it going to be Ty? Is it going to be Keelan? And we decided to take a different approach and just discuss why wouldn't it be Austin Mack? And I'm going to let my guy, Lucian Gray, start it off, because I know he is really, really, really interested about spring ball, excited, ready to see how this thing's gonna pair off. So, Lucian, why wouldn't it be Austin Mack, and why is he getting slept on?
I think it's mainly has to do with the fact that he comes from Washington. He's not a real big Southern kid, so like a lot of fans probably don't know him. They just see a big frame kid that threw a bomb that we haven't really seen anything from. But this kid's got major upside. He's got a big arm. He has experience within the system, and he now has his own group of receivers that he has a chance to get to know and get to work with, as opposed to the new guy coming in on the block, kind of going through that experience. He's kind of helping usher in a new group of receivers, which at a new time is basically like an artist getting a new tapestry to work with. And I think with a guy with his frame, you have to be excited about what he could possibly bring to an offense. The fact that he could actually just peer over the offensive line and just, in theory, be able to pick apart a defense, it would be awesome for the type of offense Kalen DeBoer is running with whoever is, it's Nick Sheridan right now, but whatever offense they decide to run would be elite through a guy like him. But at the same time, he's got to learn the system, and I think you can't count out competition, especially in this day and age. And he's hungry, and he's still here, so that should tell everybody something.
Yeah, I agree. Before I give it to you, Ty, because I'm interested to get your take on this. I'm all for the guy who's going to not turn the ball over, get us in the right play. Like Lucian mentioned, dissect defenses, throw the ball accurately. And I think all 3 of these quarterbacks have that. And I think that's what's got me so excited for Alabama moving forward. Now, Ty, just go on about Austin Mack and why you could see him be the starter since everybody's talking about Russell and Simpson.
Yeah, I mean, there are two guys on this roster right now that are DeBoer's guys. It's Austin Mack and it's Key Russ. But only one of them has that innate understanding of what Kalen DeBoer wants because he's been around Kalen DeBoer for going on 3 seasons, and that's Austin Mack. Remember, Austin Mack pulled a Ryan Williams. This is a guy that last year he should have been a true freshman. This year really should be his sophomore season. He left high school early. He was a guy that played tight end at one point, didn't want to be tight end, wanted to be a quarterback, left one high school to go to another to play quarterback, and absolutely exploded on the scene, being, I believe, a top 100 recruit in the nation per most sites, top 200, I think, pretty much everywhere you looked. So he's got the upside. We've talked about it before. The word around Washington the year that they went to the national championship was, hey, there's a quarterback that's impressing in spring. And of course, you know, Michael Penix is doing Michael Penix things, but Austin Mack, I'm not saying he was ever in any position to take away the job from Penix. He absolutely wasn't, but they were very comfortable with what they had in Austin Mack. They were very comfortable with what they had. And so whenever you look, he's got the physical tools to be able to do it. He is still developing. I think a lot of Alabama fans have looked at Austin Mack and thought, hey, you should be more of a polished product than you are. Kid should be a sophomore, right? He's still very young. He is still very young. And it's one thing for Ryan Williams, who is a phenom wide receiver coming in. It's another thing for a kid that his freshman year of high school, he had to move to a different school to even play quarterback. Then he got to play his sophomore year, his junior year, flew up the boards, enrolled early. So we need to remember that there are two guys on this roster that are true Kalen DeBoer guys. Key Russ is one, Austin Mack is the other. Austin Mack has a better understanding of what Kalen DeBoer wants than anybody on the roster. And because of that, it's going to be a great quarterback competition. And I'm really looking forward to it because you've got some very talented guys going after it in Ty Simpson, Key Russ, and Austin Mack.
I like it. Patty, give us your thoughts on Austin Mack and why nobody needs to sleep on him.
I mean, DeBoer brought him for a reason. And maybe it was depth, who knows? But, I mean, I love the frame of the kid. I love, like you said, he's got the tools. I mean, if you got that, I mean, you can't create that stuff. So if he's got the arm and he's got the body, I think Lou mentioned it. With the only glimpse we got was that kind of bomb he threw to the corner where Rico made a hell of an athletic play. So I mean, he's got it. I think more than anything, it's just the excitement. Y'all kind of touched on it. It's just we got a QB battle going on, and I believe that competition's going to result in maybe, you know, I don't know how much of a competition there was last year. It was Milroe's job and he was the guy and all that. You know, Simpson's bided his time. I feel like he probably has a leg up in it, but nothing should be awarded to him. He should have to fight for it. And if Mack, like you said, I know Lou and me talked about this before the show. You take your biggest jump from your freshman to sophomore year. He's already a sophomore, but a lot of that was transitional stuff. Let's see what kind of jump he makes. I definitely wouldn't write him off because the kid's absolutely got all the tools to do it. And I'm just more excited to see, you know, if he gets it, he's obviously earned it. But I think don't sleep on him. He's got something to work with. But who knows, man? I'm more excited than anything that is kind of a battle. And look, all these guys, you know, you did it, Matt. You did it, Chris. Y'all aren't immune to what's going on with the guys that come in that are at your position that you're going to be battling with. You know, they know Keelan Russell's about to step on that field and what, you know, is coming with him. So everybody's got to step it up. And if not, you know, Russell may come in there and sneak it at some point. But yeah, definitely you can't sleep on Mack. The kid's got all the tools. And I go back to I still putting a lot of trust in DeBoer to do this thing right. And if he was going to bring the kid with him from Washington, he did it for a reason. He could have brought a lot of kids with him and didn't, and that's one of them he did.
All right, Chris, give us your take on Austin Mack. Guys, what, 6'5", 6'6", powerful arm, 6'7", strong arm talent, accurate. That's one thing I'm glad about this race. All three of the quarterbacks have great arm talent, and they're pretty accurate. So it's going to be interesting to see. Chris, give us your take on why not Austin Mack.
He's built like a defensive end. First off, so he's gonna be strong, standing in the pocket. But let me tell you this: Austin Mack is the reason why Julian Sand is no longer at Alabama. Yeah. Okay, let's get that out of the way. And the reason being because in the DeBoer system, DeBoer likes a guy that can throw it all over the field. That can make every throw from the pocket or whatnot. And Julian Sand was a type Ty. I think it was more of a off-platform type guy, a guy that because he's not the biggest, and while he's very accurate, I don't think he's a guy that was a DeBoer type of quarterback that pushed it downfield a whole lot for his system. Like he likes to get outside the pocket and make throws on the run and things like that. While Mack is a guy that was handpicked by DeBoer. And he brought him to Tuscaloosa with him to compete. I think that with him graduating a year early, that kind of helped him, so to speak, in his development for the future. I feel like he was handpicked to be the quarterback of the future. But once they got Keelan Russell, now you have like, we just found us a guy that could be just as special as Bryce Young. And I have this guy so it's going to be very interesting because a lot of people are automatically assuming it's going to be Ty Simpson. And that's not the case right now. He may be the quarterback one going into spring, but can he hold on to it? That remains to be seen. I think that Austin Mack definitely will challenge. He shows flashes of how good he can be. He's shown flashes of his youth. So as far as him winning the job, it's gonna go a long ways in the spring to how consistent can he be. If he can consistently make those types of throws, that like the touchdown he threw to Rico Scott later in the year, I forgot what game it was.
Mercer, I believe.
Mercer, if he can be consistent like that, make those types of throws on the regular, because I think what the boys looking for is guys is that guy who can get the ball in the hands of Ryan Williams, Jeremy Bernard, Isaiah Horton, those guys, Jalen Hale, on a consistent basis and hit them in stride and let them do their thing with it. I think he's looking for the best distributor and the guys that are going to take care of the ball the most. So if Austin Mack can do that, he'll be the guy. But it's going to be tough because like Keelan Russell isn't coming to sit. He's coming to win this job. And Ty Simpson's been waiting 3-4 years. He's like, hey man, look, now it's my time. This is my team. So, man, this is probably going to be the most interesting quarterback battle in the country.
A long time.
Long time at Bama, and probably the most interesting in the country outside of that one, along with Ohio State's quarterback competition. I think those will be the two most watched quarterback battles going into the season. But Austin Mack, he's the dark horse. I think he's the dark horse. But I think that with him already being up a year ahead of the system over all of them, knowing it better by him, being at Washington, I think that he should be very comfortable going in year 3. He has the size, he has the arm strength. Now it's all about processing. How quickly can you get it out? How quickly can you process this? Can you get into the right check? Can you you see the blitz coming? You see that sound coming, that mic coming? Can you get the old line into the right protection, right pro? And it's also going to be interesting to see how they change up the offense, because if you notice, we didn't have a lot of hot reads or hot routes for Milroe. I don't know why not.
Patty,
do you really not know?
We're just playing, Patty.
I believe we know.
I'm just saying.
I'm just hoping we can get a time where we can all discuss it in a safe space.
Yeah, man. We can go on days about this. Ty, we can talk days about this, man. You know, we opposite guys. So it's just gonna be interesting, man. I'm ready. I want to hear what Lou gotta say on this.
Listen, we're not saying Ty probably won't. We're just saying every Bama content has been talking about Keelan Russell and Ty Simpson, and we feel like nobody's really talking about Austin Mack. So we're just saying, why couldn't it be? But I'll pose this question: do you think
competition?
Austin Mack? You think Ty beat him out last year to be the backup?
Yeah.
In practice.
Yeah. Austin was still green. Austin was still green.
Yeah.
So and Ty, even though he didn't know the system, but by him being a guy that has played some significant snaps on the SEC level, I think that that played a factor.
Look, when Ty came in, look, we've got very few snippets of Ty, but I believe the biggest look at Ty we got in any significant time was against Wisconsin. And he looked to be able to run again, I know it was late in the game. There's so many elements involved, but it looked like the offense was much more wide open when he was running and had a good grasp on it. I definitely think he had, he absolutely won the backup spot last year.
God, was this a long season? It seemed like Wisconsin was 6 months ago.
It was. Oh man! So guys, it's going to be interesting to see how this QB competition goes. I think it's going to go all the way into week 1, right before week 1, going into Tallahassee. So let us know your comments. If you got any crazy questions, chat, hit us up. We will answer them. What we're gonna say, Chris?
One more thing on this, and don't expect a starter to be named before fall camp. Like, this thing's gonna get drug out, because if you announce a starter now, name a starter now, you're gonna have guys. We might have one quarterback on the roster.
Going to 100.
Yes, so I think all 3 are gonna get first team reps. Like how they do days, like this practice, so and so is gonna be the first team quarterback. This practice, and they're gonna rotate. I think Ty may get the start off, but I think all 3 will have a chance to be that guy. So I think that's gonna happen all spring and in summer camp. And I think Florida State, going to Florida State game, a starter won't be announced until until like right before kickoff. And I think it could be Ty by default. You get what I'm saying? And I think that Florida State game would be like an audition to who would be the guy going forward. Because keep in mind now, Florida State, they're a team that I know they got guts, and they got they changed some things up, but they've been struggling offensively. And they look pretty bad this year. And I don't expect them to make that type of jump to where they'll be back to the Florida State we all know. You get what I'm saying? So I think Alabama could win that game being vanilla. Just being real, I think Alabama could win that game being vanilla. But I think that you will see multiple guys getting snaps against Florida State. Kind of like how Saban done in the past when the year after we lost, was it McCarron? When he auditioned guys and give like multiple quarterbacks a chance to take snaps. I think that's how the Florida State game will be. And it'll play out by then, because by the time the season starts, I don't think nobody's going to hop in the portal once the season kicks off. So I think that we can't afford to lose nobody. So I think all 3 will be getting just enough to keep them around, and through this season. And then you might see 2 quarterbacks leave, or if it's Ty this year, you might not see nobody leave. But if it's somebody other than Ty, if it's Russell, I think you lose Ty and you lose Matt.
Definitely got to do a dance.
It's going to be interesting. I just want the quarterback who's going to deliver to these weapons, because we got so many weapons this year. And like I said, accuracy, no turnovers. Let's get into it. I think Ty does have an advantage. He has been sitting behind for a while. He's got experience. He's a coach's son. He can distribute, so it'll be interesting to see how he plays it up. It's up to him to see if he's going to make it up, but it's going to be a great conversation. Listen, this QB battle is heated, and it's going to be sweaty and hot in the spring. I know everybody's bundled up right now, but what better way to have a good towel than going to wetwillsports.com and getting you your own title towel? I know a lot of people are snowed in. If you need a towel to keep you warm or something, go to wetwillsports.com, get you a title towel, amazing crimson title towel. As you see our brothers holding it up. That's wetwillsports.com. Use the promo code STANDARD and tell them D sent you. Okay, so
hey, and I think Justin said I think our man Justin's watching in the comments, said next super chat will go to Chris Gaines Smoke Detector Fund, and then Jimmy Clay comes in with a $10 super chat straight from Hawaii.
Double A batteries.
That ain't me this time, dog.
All right, guys. So, guys,
Jimmy Clay, we love you and appreciate you as always. We hope you enjoyed the Hawaiian Islands. You deserved the break. Now you're back to 10 inches of snow down South Alabama.
Let's go. So, guys, let's get to our next topic, and let's talk about recruiting. We know it's recruiting season right now. I saw Courtney Morgan, Molingo's the number one DB out in Ohio today or yesterday. Saw him with Jared Curtis, the big-time quarterback, 5-star quarterback up in Tennessee. But everybody's wondering, last year's recruiting class, Auburn signed majority of the top in-state guys, and I know we had a few decommits. We had Barack Willis, I believe, the defensive end, decommitted. Vandy Cleveland decommitted from Parker. So let's talk about Alabama recruiting and how important it is for, Alabama to win the in-state recruiting wars. And I go with Ty on this one, get you to kick it off. Then we'll go Chris.
Yeah, I mean, it's always good to win your state. Part of the reason why I think there's been an overreaction, though, to people worried about 2025. In order to win your state, you have to have long-standing relationships. Auburn did well in 2025 in Alabama because Hugh Freeze wasn't a first-year coach. He'd been there. He'd been able to talk to these kids for a year, right? Like, he was able to establish these relationships. Auburn had far more continuity. They didn't out-recruit Bama. Bama still got a better class. And I think you'd be being incredibly disingenuous if you looked at me and said, hey, I would trade Bama's class for Auburn's class just because they got a few more guys from the state. Would you? Because I wouldn't.
Me neither.
So you trade Key Russ, Dejon Lee, Lotzier Brooks, Derek Meadows, Edwards, Michael Carroll, Jackson Lloyd. You're going to trade all those guys just because Bama, okay. I mean, to each their own, but I wouldn't trade that class. Do I think that Alabama needs to be better in the future? 100%. I'm not sitting here telling you that, hey, disregard your state lines. Not in a state like Alabama where there is so much talent. You got to win those battles. But the reason why I'm not as concerned as I see so many other people is, A, the staff recruited incredibly well. B, when you're talking in-state recruiting, you just lost Nick Saban. And you have a coach that was already there. And Trainwreck, they absolutely didn't smack us in recruiting. If you're telling me right now that you're going to take Auburn's class over Bama's class, hey, God bless. That's all I got to say.
I like it. Chris, give us your take on this. And, I think Ty made a great point about just getting the best players. I'm quite sure it's a little bit different now with transfer portal, NIL, but just give us your take on, it's some in-state battles I think we need to get. We need to get some of these D linemen. I think Crowell, the big-time running back, reclassified for 26. It's going to be interesting. So just talk about where the guys we need to get in, and is it such a big deal with transfer portal? And Alabama has been such a national brand anyway. And having those ties to the West Coast, California, I think we signed the top guys out of California like it was nothing. So give us your take.
Well, I don't think the in-state battle is as big as it used to be because rosters turn over so much now. Every year you're losing 20-some plus kids. Kids if they're not playing year 1, year 2, they're gone anyway. So in a way, if you get a kid that's from in-state, he may love the program so much that he's willing to stay there extra year and be that guy year 3, as opposed to a guy that's coming from across the country. And from a perception wise, just like winning, like most people think that okay, Auburn cleaned up the state of Alabama, yet Alabama still has the higher ranked recruiting class. So it all depends on preference. And then another thing, I think when it comes to the Iron Bowl, guys tend to play harder when they're from in-state. Like though it means more to those guys that are from the state of Alabama. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But looking at it now, it's all about money, dude. And it's kind of like a business. You get what I'm? It's like college football is a business now. So I just think that you just got to get whoever fits your system the best, whether they're from Canada, Washington State, or Jacksonville, Florida. It doesn't matter. You just got to get that guy that fits your system. But it does if it's a guy that's from like some guys you got to get, of course, like the running back. That's the number 1 running back in the state that reclassified, the Crowell kid. You definitely have to get him. Just off perception alone, not only that, just from a talent perspective. And the state of Alabama has been producing some pretty elite athletes the last few years or whatnot. So you definitely want to get some of those. But is it as big a deal as it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago? No. So I just think that right now you just got to, with the transfer portal, that's a quick fix. You just can't depend on the portal. You still want to get your guys in, but you can't live and die by the portal like Florida State, as you're seeing what happened to them this year. They lived and died by the portal, and they died by the portal. So, with it being a year-to-year thing now in college football, I don't think it's as big as a must-win. Just get who fits your system and what you need. And as long as you're happy with your class, as long as the boy got his guys and Courtney Morgan got the guys that they wanted, that's all that really matters at the end of the day. Because did the state of Alabama have a guy, a corner in the state that could have came in and did what Xavier Brown did this year as a true freshman? That modern day pipeline is something special, man. And we just got Chuck McDonough out of there. The Money Jackson's from there. So if you can give me a pipeline like a St. Francis or a modern day, I take that all day over, the perception of getting the guys in state. You get what I'm saying, Petty?
It's kind of Hugh Freeze's gimmick almost. Yeah, did Auburn sweep the in-state last year? Yeah, they did. But it almost started with Saban. Saban started recruiting nationally years ago. Like, go get the best guy, not the best guy in Alabama. And does that take away from the hometown? But so what, man? I hate to break it to you. Bama's bigger than just this state when it comes to college football, if you want to be real. And Saban took it to such a national level, like you've been screaming, Chris, and everybody else. It's about going and getting the best guys. But on the flip side, you're going to have Freeze do crap like that and kind of get under your craw because he's going to – anything that he can, like I say, use as a gimmick or I got Bama because we win the state and Auburn is all about Alabama. And he'll do crap like that. But at the end of the day, that doesn't win football games. What wins football games is damn players. And you made a great point. Let's go get that dude from modern day who kind of looked better than one of the studs from Alabama last year who was young. Don't want to call names, and that kid may turn it on. But, go get the best dude. Let Hugh do his thing. I mean, it's kind of more weird to see teams like Clemson and Ohio State come in and steal some of the other guys and Bama not get those guys. But again, at the end of the day, portal, like you said, Chris and Ty, it's such a new world. The rivalries aren't going to be the same with the growing up and playing against each other. Get the guys you need from the state. If there's a guy you need, yeah, go get him. But if not, it's not a big deal.
And one more thing, in the pipeline that I rather have that South Florida receiver pipeline we used to have.
Yeah.
I want to again where we had the Judy, the Cooper, the Ridley. That pipeline right there.
Yeah, give me the Florida receiver pipeline.
Yes, because we had French. We lost him. I wish we could have held up, kept him.
The California defensive back pipeline or quarterback pipeline out of Cali. Yeah.
Yeah.
LeSean, your take on this, sir?
Yeah. I'm gonna have to disagree with you guys on this one. For the general fact that there is something different in Alabama. There's something different in certain states that isn't around the country. There's a type of grit. There's a type that just downright dirty nasty that the West Coast just doesn't possess. And I'm speaking specifically in the freaking trenches. Alabama is a must-win state when it comes to defensive front seven talent. We have let too many guys walk. We have let talent just flicker away to schools that we hate. And I just don't understand it. Alabama is a must-win state at certain positions because Alabama breeds just roughneck, rough rider, mean sons of guns that just want to hit people in the mouth. Now, yeah, Auburn has got some of them dudes. And am I jealous that some of them dudes made that awful decision? Yeah. But at the same time, you can't deny what they bring to the team. Now, I'm not saying they're the most talented, but football is still a tough man's game. And my kind of take against getting kids from all across the country, when they come to Alabama and the SEC, they're a little bit soft. And I'm not a fan of soft shit. Football's a tough man's sport. And to me personally, the track record says most of the tough, bad mama jammas come from the South and that part of the country. If you want mean, and we've let too many mean players just walk from the state of Alabama, especially when it comes to the front seven.
Let me play devil's advocate on that. Then you have guys who could have helped, like Peter Woods, but they're more worried about their brand than anything. Do you really want that type of distraction on your team? You know what I'm saying? Like I'm glad.
I think all that could change with coaching, Chris.
I'm glad Collins came back.
I'm
glad he came back home, Lou, and that was big. I think it's going to be big. Kelby Collins came back home.
Yeah, but just think of like LT Overton. There's just guys that we miss. I'm not saying he's from Alabama, but there's just guys that we've missed that are great players that are on other teams, and that's a problem for me, especially when we got
that's
guys
recruiting,
that
though.
played at Alabama. That's what we're talking about, though.
Yeah, exactly. But that's my point. Recruiting's far too national now, right? Like, all right, I'll put it like this. Maybe our nastiest offensive lineman this year, where was he from?
Tyler Booker, he's from Connecticut, isn't he?
Well, so two nastiest offensive linemen. Where was he from?
Center. Brailsford.
He wasn't from Bama. He wasn't from Georgia.
Now, what Brailsford from? Washington? What's he from? California? I'm not sure.
He's out that way. It's just a different game now. I
was talking about the defensive, Ty. I didn't say nothing about the offense. I said defensive. Defensive in the front seven.
Well, I bet his guy was from Georgia, from Milton High School, Overton, LT Overton.
But I think what LeSean is saying, we're missing a lot of top D linemen.
Blue collar.
Alabama.
Blue collar guys. I mean, white collar guys, I meant. Well, no, blue collar guys.
And I gotta agree with that. I think we need, when there are guys right here, we need to capitalize on this guy. This 26 class is loaded, so we need to be making sure we need to hit on these guys. Because I think you get the in-state guys, that keeps the ball rolling for the rest of the country. You know, guys like, oh, I need to jump on board or whatnot. I know it's different in NIL, but I know Lushan's big on defensive linemen, front seven, and it's a lot of talent in the state of Alabama coming up. Edge rushers, D linemen, so we got to make sure we solidify those relationships and get that pen to pad on signing day. Anything else?
No, and that's dead on because look, to lose point. Look, man, you don't win a national title without an elite defensive line. You just don't.
Yeah, you got to have defense.
You got to have an elite defensive line to win a national title.
The stats say differently. Like, I mean, if we'd have been Malin quarterbacks the last couple of years with not recruiting in-state defensive linemen and linebackers, I would have gave it to you. But we haven't, so we got to make a change.
I mean, we've been getting in-state defensive linemen. The problem is they haven't panned out.
Yeah, and another thing is, I feel like
but they're not top elite guys.
But I feel like we played well enough defensively to win the national championship this year. We just didn't get it done on the offensive end. Think about it. Oklahoma, we held them to how many points? Vanderbilt, that pick six killed against Vanderbilt. Tennessee, I mean, turnovers, like the games we lost, Michigan, we couldn't get none track. We held them. Like, I felt like the games we lost, we played well enough defensively to win those games.
I mean, Chris, that you're right about that, but we still had 25 sacks as a defense, bro. Like, the numbers, like, come on, man.
Yeah. Hey, but with this day and age, man, these quarterbacks aren't holding on to the ball like that no more, and then you have more.
Other teams are getting.
It's like harder to get
50 sacks.
Huh?
Other teams are getting 50 sacks. There's teams still registering those numbers,
but other teams aren't playing the same caliber offensive line that we see every week. Yeah,
they were up in the 50s. That's what I'm saying. Like, come on.
Well, I mean,
maybe the best edge in the country was from Washington, D.C.
Yeah. But that's more edge guys, though, than anything, because you're not going to have your D linemen not going to have tons of sacks. Your sacks not going to really come from your D linemen. Those are edge guys.
They have in Alabama history.
Huh?
Nolan had some.
Nolan was the number one. Was he also the number one player in the country? Ty?
Yeah, Walter Nolan was the number one player in the country. The number one leader in sacks in the country, Williamsburg, Virginia. The number 2, New Jersey. The number 3, Virginia.
I know Ole Miss went and bought him a defensive line.
Number 4, New York.
Yeah.
Number 5, Washington.
I know.
I feel you, bro. But when we're going with, like, when you bring up, let's dive into the numbers. I just presented the numbers.
I know where Lushan.
Yeah, okay. But you look person. Okay, but
we're just missing
players.
That's what it is.
Sophomores, but we shouldn't be missing. That's the point. Like, how are we missing with who we have?
I agree with you, but I don't think that the answer is saying, "Oh, well, we just need to look in state and disregard getting a 5-star defensive lineman from elsewhere just because there's this notion that, damn it, they're not from Bama." That's where I disagree with you.
Man, I mean,
you think it's Lushan, you think it's we're missing out on these top D linemen because of the position coach? What is it?
They're not drinking this.
I don't know. I mean, it's just. I think it's a mentality thing. There hasn't been a bad dude in that room in a long time. That's true. Yeah, there's great players, but there ain't no bad dudes, and y'all know what I'm talking about. I don't think stars don't mean shit. Stars don't mean shit when you're on the field against another grown man, and I think all these kids forget that shit. Like, bottom line is, we need an actual bad motherfucker on our defensive line that won't let our defenders get pushed around like they have been. Like, nah, dude, this ain't happening. Like like we get pushed around. It's like, oh, okay, we'll give them the next play. Nah, screw that. You need somebody on the defensive line like a Jonathan Allen that'll rip into mother. Like, you need somebody like that, like Deron Payne, to just be like, nah, this is how we're gonna do it. Like, those type of, like, these type of dudes, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and we don't have them.
The last one
I don't understand why.
The last one we had, we won that championship. Christian Barmore.
I wouldn't. He was a bad dude, but he still wasn't. He wasn't like what I'm talking about, bro.
That stretch Barmore had down when we won that championship.
I'm not saying he wasn't a good player, Chris. I'm saying he's not the type. I'm talking like a dude that won't let other players get pushed around. Like somebody to get, like when an offensive lineman shoves somebody down, that our defensive line was in their face. Jonathan Allen wasn't letting nobody get pushed around. Deron Payne, them dudes was not letting nobody on our defense get pushed around like they have been lately.
Listen. I think you're 100% right there. I think you're 100% spot on about where the defense has been missing. It's up front. I just don't think that the answer is shutting the doors because the first guy you named, Jonathan Allen, he's from Virginia.
Deron Payne ain't.
Sure. Okay, so we're 50% now, right? And then we look at the list. I don't think that the answer is simply saying, hey, just because they're from Bama, they have this. We can look at the roster right now of guys that we've complained about from Bama. I'm of the mindset that, damn it, let's go get the best guy. I don't care where they're from.
Could it be?
We can agree to disagree, Ty.
Could it be scheme?
I want grit on the defensive side of football.
I agree.
So most of the time, sometimes the best player in the country don't have grit. They're just a good football player.
Yeah, but that's what evaluation comes in, right? If you evaluate, I don't care where they come from.
Who was the D-line coach when Payne 2017 that 2017 team?
Wasn't it Bo?
Wasn't it Bo Davis?
Wasn't it Bo Davis?
Yeah, Bo Davis.
Didn't Bo have 2 stints at Bama?
Mm-hmm.
Or one?
Two.
So it could be. I mean, like I said, I always wanted Freddie to coach.
Bo had to fall on the sword because of Simmons at Mississippi State. If anybody doesn't know why Bo Davis is not at Alabama, it's because of Jeffrey Simmons at Mississippi State and State running their damn mouth. If you want a reason to hate those assholes, because Bo talked to Jeffrey the night. Ole Miss and Bama thought Simmons was gonna. It was down to them too, and they were both working him the night before. State came in, gave a bigger bag, and then ratted on the two schools that talked to him the night before, and Bo Davis had to fall on the sword for it.
Ah,
tragic.
Well, he can come back now. Saban's gone.
Maybe.
No, Davis.
He's
a
Davis,
man.
He's a Louisiana guy.
But he's at LSU. He's home.
It's hard to get him out of LSU, is what I've been told.
Can you believe that they're complaining? Some folks are complaining. LSU fans are complaining about Bo Davis.
I'll take
LSU fans are dumbasses.
I'll take them. So, guys, we're gonna switch gears. We're gonna since my guy LaShawn's very passionate. We're gonna go right into the danger zone and let my good friend LaShawn continue with something that he wants to get discussion and say we need to identify. LaShawn.
You know, something that I've been looking at as well as the defense is something that's hurt us the last couple of years, and it's the special teams. And I'm going to hit on the returner, but I'm also going to hit on the actual defense of it, because the actual defense of it is wherein lies most of the mistakes. These guys aren't getting in their lanes. They're not filling the right gaps. And sometimes it honestly looks like they're just running down blind and not really knowing what they're doing. And that is a direct result of the special team coach not making sure that they understand what's going on. The fact that we had multiple guys with the same number on the field this year, I've never seen that in college football. I thought that was something that happened like in middle school football. And on the return side, I get that they're freshmen, but these kids look like they are just a deer in the headlights when they get the football. Even whether it's making a fair catch, whether it's actually making a move on the field and following your blocking, whether it's just not like straight up getting killed with the football. I think there needs to be a very long look at what's been going on our special teams. Now, the kicking game is great. It can always get better, but our punting game has been good the last couple of years. But the return game and what happens when the ball is in the air, we're getting too many penalties, knick-knack penalties. I think we might have some guys out of the position, especially when it comes to the gunner. I also kind of feel like that we haven't had an actual returner since Jahmyr Gibbs, like an actual top in the nation returner, turn man, since Jahmyr Gibbs. And the one before that, I know it's going to shock a lot of people, but was Christian Jones. Now, Jalen Waddle was good. He was effective, but he wasn't nationally highly ranked. And I think with the athletes that we have at Alabama, I think sometimes we get comfortable in, okay, this guy's doing this and he's a star. Let's put him back there. Now, I get, you feed the hot hand, but at the same time, this is Alabama. We have multiple athletes with so much upside, so much speed, and so much talent. At the same time, you're not risking the health of a key piece either on your offense and your defense. And you're also giving confidence to another player to actually contribute in a positive way to the team. And let's face it, guys, when Alabama goes off on a kick return or stops them with the big hit, that excites whichever team is coming on the field. That's called momentum. And that's been one of the things that Alabama team hasn't had in a couple of years is momentum, being able to continue that momentum and create sustaining drives. And that all starts with special teams. And, I mean, we've talked about it. Ty said it. He's not a fan of the special teams coach. And I second that because this year was bad. Like, just people fumbling the football. It's like
brutal.
It's to the point to where I know a couple of years ago we were worried about the dude always fumbling the ball when he got it. To this year, it's like I don't even know what's going to happen. Like, are they going to touch it? Are they just going to look at it and it's going to hit one of them and something's going to happen? Like, I hate that feeling. It's not a feeling any football fan, especially an Alabama fan, wants to have. And at this prestigious university, that is something that can change very easily with who's coaching that room. Because like I've said, we have athletes. We don't have athletes. We have explosions that are just waiting to go off.
I agree. So I think help is on the way. I'm just waiting for it to officially happen. That we're gonna be able to help on the special teams because I think this coach has no clue. I mean, when you got tight ends at onside on your hands team, and to me, I don't know. I'm like,
Latham was on hands team, dude.
I'm like, what are we doing? Like, do you not know what the purpose of a hands team is? Like, did you even?
Yeah, I was confused by that. What was he doing?
I knew it was bad.
Was that a mistake?
I don't think it was.
Bernard.
Fake jump shot, fellas.
I don't think it was. I knew it was bad whenever he got hired, and we were in a live stream on my channel talking about it, and OU fans were thanking me.
Yeah, I remember seeing OU fans like
thanking me.
They were
like,
so glad he was gone, and I was like, "Why would we hire this guy?" No, so
never a good sign when the other team's cheering a coach leaving.
I tell you what, man. For like 25% of what he's making, you can pay me and Matt. We'll uproot and move to Tuscaloosa.
It'll be so easy. Special team so easy.
We're gonna block more kicks. We're gonna have more returns for touchdown. Dude, we do make.
When's the last time we blocked a kick? When's the last time we blocked a punt?
I actually can't tell you.
If that guru at South Carolina can figure out how to be a special teams guru, anybody can.
I think Jahad Campbell was a freshman.
It was crazy.
Dude, like Matt, dude, it's not hard, man. Like, go back and get Tomadol and or somebody like that, Tomadol or Coach Unger. Like, dude, those are two of the best special teams guys that Bama probably ever had. I haven't seen, those two guys were all special. Tomadol.
I just know help is on the way, and I'm just waiting to see which role this guy's going to be on.
So please not have Ryan Williams back there.
Yeah, I don't think
Ryan Williams.
This guy that's coming was a guru at punt returner, and I think he's going to give us.
Dude, y'all keep forgetting about Bubba Hampton, man. He got to have a place somewhere next year.
Yeah,
him got to have the right coach that can develop it too. Like, I don't think this guy knows what he's doing,
or knows what talent he has.
Yeah,
because I didn't see not near one of them on the field. And Bubba, he's built for it before he got hurt. Because no offense, you don't want a skinny bones on the field getting blasted by people. To me, I mean, we've seen that.
And I'm tired of seeing
with Eddie Jackson. I mean, or with the original 1-7. You know what I'm saying?
Waddle.
Like,
dude,
no, not Waddle. Before that, Kenyon Drake. Like,
on
kickoff, I think Alabama should just leave our receivers and our special players off the field. Get a guy that can return. Like when we had Christian Jones, he was that dude. He was a receiver, but that dude was our returner. We need to designate somebody as, listen, that return job is yours. Flourish with it.
And I'm tired of seeing running backs back there too on kick. Like I want somebody, like when I'm thinking return, somebody that's going to hit.
Gibbs did pretty good.
Like, huh?
Gibbs,
no, not Gibbs. I'm talking about
Damian Harris is back there.
Yeah,
that was
man. Oh my, yeah, one of your 4 or 5 running backs.
Yeah,
no, dude.
Oh man,
I can like Harris back there.
Give me a DB or electrified receiver, somebody that's gonna make something. They get the ball in their hand. You better hold. You gonna hold your breath. That's what I like back deep.
Chris, you remember when D was back there? Thank you. I thought I could get you.
Seriously though, it's something that I don't understand how they haven't like primed on that. And you put from all the guys on our roster, you got 2 true freshmen you roll out there. I'm just like, and that's a starter and a backup. It's like, guys, come on, like look at the roster. Like, really? That's what you come up with, Jay? Come on, man.
You got explosive guys like Henderson. They can fly like Henderson. Guys like that, man. Like, come on, dude.
Or Riley. Like, there's other guys on the team that can scoot that you don't have to worry about blowing their knee out because such and such loses his feet and just takes out one of our players for the year. Like, why are we even risking that when it's happened? Like,
I know the only time I want to see
Ryan
Ryan
attack every time Ryan Williams was back there, just like
oh my!
The only time
I stopped drinking because of that.
The only time
I started.
The only time I want to see Ryan Williams back deep is when one of those we got to have it time. When we got to have it, like it's ball cutting time. When we got to have it, like the Michigan game when he's like
I don't want to see him back there.
I don't want to see
period.
When it come down to time to win a game, we can't worry about no injuries, man. When you need to play, you gotta have your dudes out there.
I also didn't see Cole Adams much. Well, I mean, I was led to believe that he was going to be one of the kick returners, and we didn't even get to see him much.
Scotty Pippen
got the elbow injury. He stopped.
He got hurt.
Yeah, but even at like, was he even out there at the beginning of the season? That's what I'm saying. Like
he was the punt returner.
He was the punt returner.
Then he broke.
He should have been the kick returner.
His arm.
I know.
Yeah, and I think that like when it comes to punt return, Matt to tell you in kick returner, it takes 2 different types of guys. Like a punt returner got to be a guy that's shifty, somebody that can make a first guy miss and get to the return side, get to the
dance on the phone
wall.
booth.
And then the second guy, the kick returner, got to be a guy that's gonna kick it, that's gonna catch it and get north and south and hit that seam without no fear. You get what I'm saying? Somebody's gonna be like for example, the Julio Jones. If he was back deep, he'll be on kickoff return. Julio would never return a punt. He'll be a kickoff return guy. But a guy like Devontae Smith, he'll be a punt return type guy. He won't be a kickoff return. You get what I'm saying? So it's all about explosion and being able to make guys miss. Then you have guys like Javier Arenas that can do it all. Who could be a kick returner, a punt returner, or any type of returner. Or he just electric with the ball in his hands. Or Ryan Williams. Ryan Williams could be any type of returner. So it's just all about just knowing your personnel, man. And Nunez didn't do a good job of that this year. We have to improve in that department, and hopefully by adding Javier back to the staff, man, we'll see some changes.
All right, well, great topic. I love it. Bringing that issue up, Lushan, and getting great conversation. So, guys, we're gonna shift gears to the fans. Let's get to the chat. I want to hear what the chat's got to say. I know we got some great comments, got some great questions from the chat before we wind it down. Let's see. Do you think Ty will start? from Joe Edwards, but he might be on the short leash.
You should see my leash. It's incredibly. Oh, we're talking.
Not that leash, Ty.
Not that leash, Ty. Yeah, I do think Ty's going to get the side. I think, listen, I'm just going speculation, but I think Ty's got everything he can have for him. You know, he's got weapons. He knows how to run the offense. He knows how to run the RPO. He's just got to deliver the ball, but he's got competition too. So it's going to be the best man who wins this job. What do you guys think?
That sounds like our Ty. I believe our Ty can start.
For sure.
You should have seen me in my heyday. I could have thrown a football clear over those mountains over there.
Clear over those mountains.
Rico.
Oh, man. I like this comment. Yeah.
Take this one, Petty.
Bubba Hampton. Man, I don't know the answer. I'm with you guys, man. I'm with Lou on this. Lou's got in my head with Latier Brooks. I want to see when this kid comes in. I think he's
here.
Lou's shown me enough.
He's different. Broke the New Jersey record for all-time touchdowns. Like the kid, he's unbelievable. Went to one camp and flew up every recruiting board, every recruiting website there was.
But
what do y'all think about him in that role?
But
him and Hampton, I like it.
No, but the thing about it, Lou, you up north. You're up north, and dog, like I'm way down to Georgia. Ty's way in Texas. Petty's in Florida. Matt's in Georgia. And dude, we all in Duluth, Ohio, and we all knew that Latier Brooks should have been ranked way higher than what he was a whole dang 6 to 12 months. Like, what's up with the recruiting services? Like,
he didn't.
Why are they still sleeping on this guy?
Hey, it's gonna be the same thing as when everybody just whiffed on Josh Jacobs. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
Yeah. Good call.
Tell you that right now.
Yeah. So
this.
Go ahead.
It is scary how athletic this kid is. I know I was talking in the green room about it. I sent a video of it was last season of him at a camp. There was a safety who had his hand put up in the air because Latier Brooks was soaring over him. And that safety was about 6'1". Yeah, do the math on that. And he had his hand on his backside in the air. And he also got clocked at going 22 miles an hour during a game. I'm just saying that bounce and that speed reminds me of like Henry Ruggs type of explosiveness. And y'all remember what that dude did on the field. You put him in an offensive system that can actually work with special teams and give him a coach that can bring him up. Like, I don't know, one of the most legendary Alabama return men ever.
Deuce.
I think that spells a lot of good things.
I like Jameson Williams type explosion.
Well, and then to Lou's point, Chris, to answer your question, the clip Lou's talking about was the only camp he went to. And the crazy thing is there was another clip from him up that camp where they put him at defensive back and he flew over from the other side of the field. He was on the right side. They threw it to the left pylon and he flies over there, jumps up, and one hand mosses everyone. And it looked like he was probably 3 feet off. I mean, the kid is going to have an insane vertical. But the reason why they missed is unfortunately recruiting now. It's so based on these damn camps.
Yes.
And if you don't go, you're going to fall through the cracks. Josh Jacobs, great example. He didn't go. And the one time he went, that's when everybody started going like, wait a second. If you remember right after he went, that's when On3 put him like up 200 or 300 spots. And good on them. Because I don't know too many other people that moved him the way On3 did. On3 saw it and was like, hey, nah, when you can ball, you can ball. This is it. Kid's incredible.
I love it. Trainwreck says Cole Allen. What about him? Him and Brooks would be nasty.
You know how I feel about Slotty Pippen.
I like Slotty Pippen. He did decent. He got a little juke about him. He was
I like
nice
Cole.
Part return. I
Well,
like
Cole made some big catches.
I like him. I like him for sure. For sure. But I also like him on the offense too.
All right, last one.
What's up with the kid from Ball State? 325. I think he's a offensive tackle.
He's an offensive
tackle.
Interior right tackle type.
He's one of those. Yeah, you beat me to it, man. He's a project. I think they like his upside. And one thing that we've talked about a lot, Big Bama, is that you went from one side of the spectrum to the opposite end of the spectrum in terms of what you were asking your offensive lineman to do. You went from having an offensive lineman who you just told, hey, stonewall, to an offensive lineman who you were saying, hey, we need y'all to get out in space and beat the running back to the edge whenever you pin and pull. And now they're looking for guys that can do that. Bama got very lucky, though, that they had some unbelievably athletic offensive linemen like a Tyler Booker, right? I mean, he can do whatever you want him to do. He's that good. Caden Proctor, I think, has the athleticism. Would still like to see him slim down a bit, but I'm also very high on Caden. I think he's going to be all right. When he was healthy, he was phenomenal.
I like it. Speaking of phenomenal, that's been another great, phenomenal episode here on the Final Whistle. Listen, this is what we do every Tuesday night. We cover so many different topics in so many different ways that you got to tell your friends about us. Don Parker says, I'm completely done with saying what these players are going to do until they can show it on game day. Not a day, but a real great game. Great point, Mr. Parker. So, guys, how can they follow the cast? Let's go with Lushan, our very passionate brother up there in the Buckeye Nation, unfortunately.
You know, you can find me on X, Rolu241, Facebook and Instagram, Lucian Graves. And on Tuesday nights, exclusively, you can find me here on the Final Whistle with the Avengers, talking about all the exciting changes, all this amazing hopes that we have going through the season. And I'm still fully behind Kalen DeBoer and Kane Womack and what they got going on. And that's all for me. Roll daggum tide.
Roll daggum time, Petty. When you're not doing your double agent stuff,
you can find me in between sliding in those DMs on Twitter X at Petty_Daniel. If you send me a message, I'm sure I'll be on there messaging somebody else.
Stay out of Sydney Sweeney's DMs, okay?
Ooh, she's already blocked me multiple times. Good Lord, man. Woo! You don't know who that one is. Jesus,
I threw you on that one. I do.
Oh, you threw me on Sydney. Man, she's one that got caught on the radar here lately. I'm old man these days. I miss them till
he
late,
saw them Warlocks, and that's all he needed to know.
I saw this rom-com, and the Warlocks came out, and I'm like, what show? So I watched Bride, Handmaid's Tale. I've watched every.
He doesn't even remember. It could have been the Warlock's tale for all he knows.
Whatever you want to call it, man. I'll slide into. Yeah.
Those Warlocks. Great line by Ty.
Warlock. Sliding into Sydney's Warlock DM on. Other than that, I'm all over the Bama Standard. Monday nights, I'm here with the opening kick, my man Smoke Dixon. We did a post game for the national title last night. We had AC Carter come on. AC
Deuce.
Antonio Carter. And Herb and Rod from the Herb and Raj podcast. So we had a good time last night. But Monday nights, opening kick. Tuesday nights, where I'm always at, where I started at with the best crew on the block, the Avengers at the Final Whistle. And then on Thursday nights, man, hey, we talked a little bit about it tonight, but going hard in the paint at 7:30 Central with Herb and good Lord, I've done forgot who are all on my cast. I've got Herb and JT. JT runs.
He's over there thinking about them.
I tell you, man, sorry, I've had back issues. I might be.
Listen,
I
she made Gandalf proud.
I might be under the. I pulled my back.
The influence.
I had to take some the influence of some pain medication, so my damn brain has kind of quit working.
He pulled his back. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pull my back.
Yeah, those blue ones aren't for your back, Petty.
Pull back.
Pull
Those blue ones aren't for your back.
Sending pics. No. Yeah, that's it. Catch me talking basketball on Thursday night, going hard in the paint. I'm out of this shit.
I love how I mentioned Sydney Sweeney and Petty just was like,
blew me up.
Somewhere
I mean, it's almost as if it was 92 and you mentioned Kathy Ireland. The same thing would have happened. I'd have just blown my damn mind all over myself.
Oh, man.
I no idea who that is.
What?
I wasn't even born yet.
Kathy Ireland? You don't know who Kathy Ireland is? Check out
the model, back in the day. Oh, Sports Illustrated.
There you go.
I'm old.
What the hell do I need with a Kathy? What's her face when I got Sydney Sweeney in the great World Wide Web?
Speaking of World Wide Web, Mr. Ty Hayes, how can they find you? How can they reach you?
Yeah, you can find me at Around the Table Sports. You can find me at Bleacher Report. You can find me here at this unbelievable channel doing this unbelievable show with these unbelievable guys. Hard. It's just like the meow game at the beginning. Hard. Yeah, but this is guys, this is what makes this show so fun, right? Is that we all train wreck. I'm sorry. You better go. You might need to get on the internet after this. Yeah, that's not what I'm gonna look up.
I had a one-dimensional relationship with Kathy in the 92-93 era.
Did she block you?
Well, I mean, there's just one-dimensional. There was a
he
poster.
said there's many letters. You wrote plenty of letters.
The carrier pigeons started not taking.
That's back before you kids had the internet. We had just magazines to work with.
I mean, shit.
Victoria's Secret.
Petty. No, Petty. I just looked her up. No, man, absolutely not. We're gonna bring
it up on the next show.
Yeah, we'll bring it up. But finishing it out, guys, what makes this show so great is you're going to hear everybody's authentic takes, right? You're going to hear everybody's authentic perspective, and you're going to have times where we don't agree with each other, but we love doing it with each other, and we love having these discussions for all of you. So.
Chris, how can they find you, Chris?
You can find me on Facebook at Chris K. James Sr., on X at Coach Chris James, and on Instagram at final_Wilson_Chris. Well, bye TikTok. I deleted mine before, all my info.
Back. Well, it came back 4 hours later, right?
Yeah, Chris.
Yeah, I know, but I don't even know, man. I just went ahead and delete all my info, man.
That's as long as it took for Sydney Sweeney to unblock and then block Petty again.
And I thought when they reinstated it, it would undo my blocks. I was wrong. She had that shit on standby.
Yeah, first order of business.
Block that son.
Man, y'all are crazy. I got tears over here, man.
That's hilarious. Well, listen,
all right, y'all.
Explain this conversation to my wife here in a few minutes. That's where it really gets good.
You and me both. I'm already thinking.
What about these warlocks?
we like to end on these two words that not named Sydney Sweeney: Roll Tide and Warlocks.
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 Roll that gum tide.